From reality TV star, business owner, and competitive dance teacher to felon, cancer patient, and niche internet meme. Today, we're talking about the downfall of Abby Lee Miller. Abby Lee Miller was born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania in 1965 to Marianne Lorraine Miller and George Miller. So she always says her childhood was really good, but based on like little clips and quotes from her, you can piece together that it might not have been as great as she said it was. First off, she's literally named after her dad's beautiful ex-girlfriend. And I don't know if the mom knew this at the time or if she was just like trying to be cool girl. That literally blows my mind. She's the only child, and especially for it being the 60s, they had her very late in life. I think they were in their late 30s, early 40s when they had her, which for the 60s again was like totally unheard of. So there are rumors that she was unplanned, especially because there are so many things that kind of hint at her mom being not necessarily nurturing and motherly. There's a quote of her talking about how she hates calling her dancers beautiful, or she hates if she thinks her dancers know that they are pretty, because her parents would never call her beautiful on purpose to just like, I don't know, like knock her down a peg, keep her humble. I hate when people feel like they have to do that to other people. Ew. Her mom ran a dance studio and never encouraged her to get into dance. She was always kind of like, Abby, you don't really have the type for it. It kind of seemed like her mom body shamed her away from it. But by the time Abby is 14, she has formed an elite Abby Lee dance competition team as a 14-year-old, which is crazy and impressive, I'll give her that. She takes it to nationals and they win. After winning that competition, Abby is hooked on dance for life. She knows that she's not necessarily the greatest dancer, but she is obsessed with competition, winning, and putting something out there. So she starts her career as a dance teacher and choreographer. Eventually, she takes over her mom's studio and renames it the Abby Lee Dance Company. Many years later, there's a production company that is looking to do a series on moms in the dance world as a spin-off of Toddlers and Tiaras. Somehow Abby knows somebody on the production team and Pittsburgh becomes a contender. Anyways, this documentary team starts interviewing all these dance moms all over the United States, and they end up loving all the Pittsburgh moms. They all know each other and they all have beefs and they all have shit to say about Abby. So they scrap the idea of doing little one-off episodes with several different moms, kind of like how Toddlers and Tiaras was, and they just commit to doing a whole story on the Abby Lee Dance Company. And Abby is not the main character when it's initially pitched. They film a docuseries of like 6 episodes and they love the moms, but they are obsessed with Abby. Basically, Dance Moms is about Abby Lee Miller, who is a monster dance teacher who literally just bullies her 6 8-year-old dancers. She consistently traumatizes them by racism.
Go back and look at your pictures of your personality when you were a baby.
Body shaming.
I can see by the size of the 5 months in the air. Hush your mouth.
Emotionally manipulating them.
I wasn't invited. What do you mean you weren't invited? We weren't invited to the recording studio.
It's not my fault.
Whose fault is it? You're 13 years old. Start taking responsibility for your own actions.
Fighting with their moms in front of them.
Kathy, you're finished. You're washed up. You're old. You're nothing.
Really?
Get on the broom and fly on my way home.
I don't need to get on the broom and fly way home.
Don't touch other people.
I'm not
You sat in the
touching
theater,
you.
poked me in the back.
You to shut your mouth.
Don't touch other people.
It's talk through other kids' dances. You're a hypocrite.
And you're a joke. Yes.
Oh, no, don't.
Oh, yes, you are. I'm in any news. You know what's running like black all over? The obituaries. And that's where you belong.
Now look at an obituary. You would know.
Pitting them against each other.
You know who creates the culture? It's you. Because you try to turn all of these kids against their friend, and that little girl's mortified all the time, but you don't care. How about being a role model? I have heard you say to her, to that little 9-year-old girl, no one would be happy for you. Everyone's jealous of you. Why do you do that? No, we're not. No, we're not. You have sabotaged my daughter and the rest of the kids. How dare you call my daughter a sneak? She's not a sneak. You're a sneak and a snake. You do these things to these kids.
She is talented.
Yes, she is. Nobody thinks I
In 5 years, she might not be talented.
And continually putting them in dangerous or uncomfortable situations.
Peyton is getting the medical attention she needs. And the girls need to stop watching Peyton and reblock the number and perform without Peyton like the professionals that I'm training them to be.
By the way, this ended up being one of the most successful reality TV shows in history. Now that you know the backstory, let's get into the legal drama and downfall of Abby Lee Miller. So before Dance Moms was the thing, Abby files for bankruptcy in 2010. She claimed that her dance studios were on the brink of bankruptcy and that she only had about $8,000 in her bank account. She valued her company at just about $300,000, and she was just really stressed about what she was supposed to do. She stated that the 2008 recession just kicked her in the ass financially. Everybody took their kids out of dance and she was having a hard time recovering from this. Her dad passed in 2000, so she had been managing the books for about a decade by herself without really having any financial knowledge or experience. Additionally, she was severely undercharging for her classes. I was listening to a podcast and they said that she was charging like $4 per child per dance class, which is crazy. Like what? I think she was actually being honest when she filed for bankruptcy. This seems earnest, like I don't know what to do, I'm out of money. But then Dance Moms begins filming in 2011, the following year, and Abby is allegedly paid $1,500 per episode. Again, not good with money because being the star of the show, I feel like she could have asked for more, and this is just something that I found online, so it could be wrong. But the issue here is that when you file for bankruptcy, you're supposed to be in like constant communication with the judge and the team that's handling your bankruptcy. Any income, like if you sell something or if you get a new job, you're supposed to be like, oh, hey team, this is a little update on my financial situation, because they're doing so much to help you through this. It's really important to have good communication. So when she signed up for Dance Moms, she did not communicate that. So by 2013, I think we're in season 3 by now, she is killing it. She is doing master classes, she is selling merchandise, she is doing appearances, and she is raking in the cash. But again, she doesn't say anything to the bankruptcy judge, and she creates bank accounts knowingly hiding money from the court. You can even find text messages between her and her accountant being super shady. As the show continues, she is hit with her first legal issue. In 2014, Paige Highland sues Abby for emotional distress. Now, the judge throws this out, but I think she had such a good case. There's literally a clip of Abby throwing a chair. It doesn't hit her, but it's right at her. And this to me would be emotionally traumatizing for so many people. I literally don't know. And I found a TikTok of her justifying it. This is 10 years after the incident. She's still not willing to own up to it. She's like, well, it was clearly Kelly's fault because Kelly didn't get the stickers to the bottom of the stool and she had 2 days to do it. So obviously I had to yell at Paige and throw a chair at her. What? This woman will not apologize or take accountability. It's so frustrating. Paige sues for $5 million. So Abby is so fucking lucky that the judge threw this out. By the way, the judge said her panic attacks were just normal teenage emotions. I am so team Paige. She should have gotten at least a little bit to, I don't know, pay for the therapy bills that would probably be insane over the years. The same year, Abby gets mega shady. She does a tour in Australia where she's teaching master classes, doing meet and greets, and selling merchandise along with some of the Dance Moms cast. And she chooses to smuggle $120,000 in Australian cash back into the United States. Now note, you're supposed to report any amount of cash coming into the United States over $10,000. She did not do this. What she did was she put it in little Ziploc baggies and she distributed it through everybody's luggage so that it was under 10K. But even if you do the math, she would have had to put that in like 12 people's luggage. So maybe she did more. I don't know. But it is speculated that Melissa played a big part in this because you can see in a Dance Moms episode, she has the Australian cash in Ziploc baggies spewed out across the dance floor and the camera catches it and Melissa runs over and starts helping her put it away. And also there's a new clip of Abby that surfaced when she was in an interview and she said, Melissa is a big liar, something about $120,000 Australia.
Wow, the best thing about Melissa, she lies really, really well. $120,000 in Australian money.
So Melissa was totally involved and a lot of people think that she stuffed cash in Maddie and Mackenzie's luggage across the United States border. So not only did she not declare these funds, she also didn't pay taxes on them, obviously, and she didn't tell her bankrupt judge. I know she had to have been making crazy money because literally every weekend she was in a new state, either doing a masterclass or a meet and greet or both. And the tickets were expensive because I remember they came through Ogden, Utah, and my best friend and I were like, oh, we're going. And then the tickets had to be like $120 or something. And our moms were obviously like, hell no, girl. So sorry, absolutely not. This is so embarrassing. We're such dorks. We made signs on poster board that were like, we love you, Abby. And then we showed up to where the meet and greet was supposed to be. And we just waited outside the door with our poster. Everybody went inside the building because Abby was so late. I remember this. The dance studio owners are like tapping their feet. She pulls up in this shitty old car, hair full of curlers, no makeup. She looks ridiculous. All the other girls had gone inside because they had tickets, and the dance studio owners came out to us and they were like, girls, why are you just out here? And I was like,
My mom forgot the tickets and she has them on her phone.
lie. But it's okay to lie because I was like 13, so it was cute. So we go around the corner and start peeking, and Abby's like getting out of her car all mangled and nasty, and she's like yelling at these strangers. She's like,
Make sure that everybody has the tickets. I'm late.
like just like hobbling out of the car, barking commands at these women who I'm sure she's never met before. Nasty. Anyway, the dance studio owners kept checking on us like, do you have the money? Are you ready to come in? Do you have the tickets? And we're just like,
Our mom should be right here.
and we're like, Mom, come get us. We gotta make the escape. We saw Abby. This is as good as it's gonna be. What? We gotta go. So we get in our car and we left, and we were all like, yep, Abby's an asshole. Cool. 2015, this is the craziest story. Her bankruptcy judge was just channel surfing and sees Abby's ultimate dance competition and is like, what? I thought this was poor. Oh, not only is this TV, this is a spin-off of her hit reality TV series. This judge is pissed and he gets more people involved, and there's an investigation launched against her for bankruptcy fraud. Then in the trial, she realizes things aren't going too well for her and pleads guilty. A lot of people say that she would have had a better outcome if she hadn't said this to the judge.
I wish you would take my dance class. I really want to go to lunch with you after this.
But she said it like condescending, so the judge was super pissed about it. How crazy to be in court and be like, I made some oopsies. Yeah, maybe I smuggled money into the United States. Maybe I didn't pay taxes. Maybe I did a little bit of bankruptcy fraud. But at the end of the day, I am a really good dance teacher and you could use some help. So on May 9th, 2017, Abby Lee Miller is sentenced to 1 year and 1 day in prison, as well as 2 years supervised release. She was ordered to pay a $40,000 fine and a $120,000 judgment for the currency reporting violation charge. So I think that was the Australia smuggling. Over time, the amount that she had lied about and hid from the government was $755,000. Now in prison, she has a horrible experience, as most people do. Our justice system is wild and out. The first day she's there, she has on eyelash extensions, and she says the guards thought they were strip lashes, so they're like ripping out her eyelashes. But why would you go to prison with eyelash extensions on? To me, that's wild, but I won't be too judgy about that. The officers are like extra mean to her because they know her from TV. They're like, oh, where's that Dance Moms girl? And they would like spray Dr. Pepper on her clothes and just be really, really shitty to her. She said she was assaulted by an officer. Super f***ed up. They immediately took her off her diabetes and thyroid medication, which led to some health problems that we'll get into. She also lost 100 pounds. So little diet hack there, if you will. After serving her time, Abby is released into the halfway house, where basically they're supposed to just set you up for life in the real world. They're giving you like education, job assistance, all these things. And she starts complaining about a really severe pain in her neck and spine. Eventually, she's paralyzed and rushed to the hospital for emergency surgery. The doctor tries to take out some of her vertebrae to ease the pain. Then they start running tests, and it comes back as a rare form of cancer. So obviously her time at the halfway house is done because she has to spend the next few years undergoing serious chemotherapy cancer treatment. Obviously, no one deserves cancer, but Abby's kind of laying low, undergoing these cancer treatments, and in April 2019, Abby undergoes her last chemotherapy treatment and is officially cancer-free. However, she still has to ride around in her wheelchair because all of these treatments have left her bones super brittle. Now that she's back in health, she begins chasing the spotlight once again. In 2020, she announces that she's going to be doing a virtual competition dance series, Peak Pandemic. So it's like perfect timing because it's online, and just as it's announced, one of her former students, Cameron, comes out and talks about all the times that Abby was racist to her, and they're like, oh, we can't do that anymore, and it gets canceled. I don't know why people are acting like that was news though, because you can literally just watch Dance Moms and see all the shit she said to Nia and be like, oh yeah, she probably shouldn't have a show anymore unless she earnestly apologizes. But this lady, nothing can stop her though. She's on TikTok, which I think has caused a huge resurgence of Dance Mom stans. Anyway, she goes on a podcast and she makes the weirdest comment about how she's into high school football players, and she like is constantly thirsting over like Noah Beck and those guys. ma'am, you are too old to be doing this behavior. She's like a little cockroach. You can't cancel her. She'll always come back. Right now, she is working on her podcast where basically she just rehashes the good old days of Dance Moms, which, I mean, everybody's doing right now. What an original thought. She's also working on a Dance Mom spin-off show, which I don't think I'll watch, but I'm interested to see if you guys have any thoughts on that. Currently, none of the original dancers stay in touch with Abby. None of them. However, Kendall, Kalani, and JoJo have been in contact with Abby, have done some collabs and stuff, but let's just be real here. I think JoJo Siwa is not a good predictor of character when we look at who she keeps herself around. That is wild. If you want a video on JoJo Siwa, let me know because her life is so interesting and I find the company she keeps really disturbing and interesting. It's so weird. Why are your best friends James Charles, Colleen Ballinger, and Abby Lee Miller? What? Girl,